I'ma tell you a little secret. I've never spent money on buying Hollow Knight. No, I didn't sail the 7 seas for it. Never do that for indie games. I mean, all games. Love you, AAA. But my first experience with Hollow Knight was getting it for free in November of 2020 through PlayStation Plus's free monthly games. I let it sit there for a year gathering virtual dust until I finally decided to play it in 2021. It would open my eyes to what a video game could be. Before this, the most creative game I had ever played was Minecraft, but even Minecraft has a fairly linear progression when it comes to defeating bosses. I say bosses because the Ender Dragon, Wither, and Warden, even if one of them technically shouldn't be fought, but I'd rather fight the Warden over like 4 Hollow Knight bosses, if I'm fighting the Warden with full netherite armor, and with at least 9 other people. Point is, Hollow Knight opened my young eyes to the difficulty of video games, the skill required for some games, and the sheer amount of freedom that could be had in video games. And I experienced all this for free $99. In this economy, that shouldn't be possible. I should be paying for that experience. Oh wait, we do. Okay, so fast forward nearly 5 years and I played a lot of Hollow Knight and a lot of Silksong. Silksong, I paid full price for. A price so small it should be a crime. It nearly was a crime for a bunch of Twitter users. Now it's the summer of 2026 and I'm browsing on the Steam storefront, wondering what I should purchase. Almost as if I'm Andy stumbling upon Woody in Toy Story 3, I stumble upon the original Hollow Knight. I mean, I'm getting Steam points anyways for some cool startup animations for my Steam Deck. It's worth. I decided to purchase Hollow Knight, like I should have so many years ago. And see, nah, y'all thought I'd leak my credit card? You'd think too low of me. After putting my card info, I wanted to see if Hollow Knight was still worth it in the big 2026.
You're as beautiful as the day I lost you.
Coming back to it, it's easy to forget how beautiful a game Hollow Knight really is. It used to look like this thing called Hungry Knight, and now it gets changed into a game looking as beautiful as this with lore that immediately gets thrown into your face. You know those ads that use AI to promote their games? And the ads never look like the game at all. Or even those cutscenes of games that are weirdly more cinematic than the game ever looked. Immediately, Hollow Knight doesn't care what other games are doing, and does cinematics that are accurate and true to the game. And this was back in 2017, before AdSlop was all over the place. Sometimes in life, I worry about the fact that I'm not fully appreciative of everything I'm seeing. I'll see the mountains and realize how beautiful they are, but I can't fathom how I would show the mountains my full appreciation. I go to the beach and admire the ocean and its sounds, yet I can never thank the ocean enough. All I can do is admire it and wave. So when I look at Hollow Knight, see how fully realized it is as a video game world, it's hard for me to fully appreciate it. Like, I gave you $7, but is $7 enough to experience heaven? If it is, then I'm going broke. I might as well spend $7 hundreds of times. Continuing the admiration train, the design of these characters and enemies are absolutely stunning. I know they're based on real bugs, but how can you say something like this and get this out of it? In theory, they look similar, but seeing them side to side makes you appreciate the artwork that went into the game. Look at the puss moth caterpillar as well. It looks so silly. Low key, might have to make a video titled Hollow Knight versus real life, where I start collecting bugs. Wait, I hate bugs. How the hell is Hollow Knight making me like them? One time, my friends were bugging for me to get on. I was about to get on when I saw this giant creature floating around in my room. I'm pretty sure it was a mutated moth straight from the game. I felt like Walter White because I was so fixated on finding that bug and I couldn't handle getting on PlayStation. It was right in the open, ready for me to swat it, but as soon as I went for it, it flew into my closet and hid behind my shirts. I carefully pulled back my shirts, but didn't see it. I wasn't ready to give up because it was 11 PM, so even if I didn't get on PlayStation, I would still have to sleep with that monster beside my bed. I looked frantically in the closet for it, and in the corner of my eye, I noticed it chilling by my roller skates. I used the roller skates as a weapon to finally eliminate the moth, celebrating my victory. Then, he whispered a dying breath to me. I hope in my next life, I will not become a monster, making a creature 1,000 times smaller than him, tremble in fear. That instead of a friend betraying another, he will listen to me just this once, as I have listened to him countless nights mutter to himself. It's ironic how death is sent to me, as the face of a friend. I stared speechless for a moment, then rubbed my eyes. Then, I told him, dude, don't you live for a week? How long have you heard me talking to myself? Have you been playing Hollow Knight? Why are you being so introspective? Perhaps replied the moth. Well, at least you got to experience peak before you passed away. Goodbye, my old friend, acquaintance, fellow Hugh. Goodbye. That's when I realized the moth was the knight from the game. He was fighting a foe 1,000 times his size, never giving up, dodging my attacks, until ultimately I got him. Hollow Knight can do a lot of things, but making me respect bugs? It's almost one of them, but I'll have to keep going to exposure therapy for that one. Now that story I just told is only half the lore a typical NPC of Hollow Knight contains, and Team Cherry, if you want some help with character lore, let me know. I would love to create stories for y'all. That story is my one and only resume. Reach out to me at itsbixley@gmail.com. Thanks! If the look of Hollow Knight wasn't enough for you, the lore will surely get you hooked. I mean, the game starts off with this writing, and as you traverse, you start seeing these tablets written with so much lore and character. It's not always easy to understand the underlying messages, and I often have to look up Hollow Knight Explained YouTube videos, but now I know that I know absolutely nothing. I mean, even today people still complain about Game Theory's theory on Hollow Knight and clown on it. Dang, if it's that easy to get something wrong, I don't ever want to put this video out. I probably already messed up a fact about Hollow Knight, and now I got some comment explaining to me that I'm absolutely wrong. But that's the beauty of the lore, right? That it's not surface level. It takes some digging, and eventually the community figures it out together without MatPat. But me and almost everyone else with a working brain on this planet enjoys the Hollow Knight lore. Lore that holds up even better as we figure out more of it with Silksong. Honestly, I need some more education on the lore, so if you want to write me a full essay, please do so. I'll become an English professor just this once, and as you delve deeper into what's behind this wall and what's behind that wall, it's a dopamine rush as you get to experience more and more of what goes on in this world. Hollow Knight's exploration is still the best exploration of all time in any Metroidvania of all time of any game of all time. Does the amount of all times get my point across? It's insane that it feels like you're rolling a slot machine every time you hit a wall, searching for the next area. And every single time you hit the jackpot. If only my first ever gambling experience was like that. Oh well. And if you explore, you get to experience some of the best combat gaming has to offer. Combat in a video game should feel natural, yet expressive. Hollow Knight balances that perfectly. With rewarding skill expression, it's something that even my grandma could understand and master. At the barest of bones, it's dodge and hit the monster. But now you can dash. Now your dash makes you invincible. And now you equip a charm that changes your dash even more. It's this constant loop of adapting, changing, and figuring out what works for each boss. And the feeling of finally defeating a boss you were struggling with is unmatched. The game is definitely hard, nobody is discrediting that. But you're rewarded. You're rewarded with consistently coming back, with trying over and over, and most importantly, never settling for a loss.
So no matter how many hits I take, I always find a way.
And if you think the game is still too difficult, you gotta keep practicing, because I promise you, it'll make you better at all games in general. And by the time you defeat the final boss for the first time, if you want to call it a day, you can. Or you can keep playing, attack even more difficult bosses, and feel even more rewarded. Each boss feels unique too, with movement, designs, and music that feels special to themselves. And just the mention of music in this game constitutes me to talk about it. I can't handle it, just roll the title card on. What is it that draws the human ear to music? I took American Sign Language in high school, and we learned a lot about deaf culture. And even people that struggle with hearing music love feeling the bass in their chest. They love doing interpretations of songs. Music speaks to everyone no matter who you are, and Hollow Knight's soundtrack is no different. Christopher Larkin, if I could, I'd give you a big fat kiss on the cheek. Because you're amazing, dude. I hope one day I could shake your hand, because then I could say I've touched a genius, and maybe some of that genius will rub off onto me. Larkin creates a perfect sense of wonder, of excitement, of dread. I am so befuddled by how someone can have such a grasp on human emotions with music. To this extent is insane. I'm used to feeling Kendrick's music, but this makes me want to sit on a mountaintop, looking out into the world, wondering what to make of life. Amazing soundtrack and amazing work that I could listen to for hours on end. And I do, because this game has so many hours worth of content. A lot of people could have gotten a degree in business with the amount of hours they played this game. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad, but the point is, it's worthy of every single hour of your day. I mean, I would never be a chud, but if I had to, Hollow might very well take me there. But the problem is, it makes you filled with determination instead. I may never be able to save a whole kingdom, but I can combat the evil bugs of my friends and family and try to all grow together. In this game, it makes it easy to just whip it out in quick sessions and get instant enjoyment from it. It's gonna give you a lot more fun than whipping out some other things. But speaking of whipping it out, why wouldn't people want to whip this game out? What are some of the flaws? Well, none. Let's finish. Okay, a good analyst looks at both sides. We can't be biased as much as we say we want to. So, what are some of the cons of Hollow Knight, still present nowadays? I typically see 3 complaints. Complaint number 1, it's too hard. We've talked about it a bit in the combat section, but this is a difficult game. But that's why it's so rewarding. If beating the boss was just handed to you, the feeling wouldn't nearly be as great as it is. Now, that feeling might not be for everyone. And if you often have anger issues or allow yourself to rage from games, still play this one, because it can teach you anger management. I'm no therapist, but you're welcome. Complaint number 2, I'm lost. I've gotten lost plenty of times in Hollow Knight, but you always find the right way to go if you just take a moment to see where you've been and where it looks like there's an opening to somewhere new. Also, we live in the internet age, so if you're super duper lost, search a guide on YouTube. Just make sure not to spoil any future content for yourself. Complaint number 3, too much backtracking. While I do wholeheartedly believe there is a good amount of backtracking in Hollow Knight, it's all a part of the experience. It's like real life. You pass by the same tree on your way to school, on your way to work. I understand the medium is different. This is a video game. I don't want to go somewhere I've explored before. However, how many times are you backtracking and experiencing something new? Backtracking to me is only an issue when it seems like we're backtracking to progress the story without receiving some incentive for it. Without receiving a new ability, which you're constantly unlocking in Hollow Knight, even if you are backtracking. All of these complaints are very valid, but seriously, are they enough to prevent you from spending $7, $15? The verdict. Hollow Knight in 2026, is it still worth it? Hell yeah! Whether you're a new player looking at a game to sink time into, or a returning player that hasn't played in a while, visiting Hollow Knight is sure to put a smile on your face. If you are, miraculously, a new player to Hollow Knight, go purchase Hollow Knight right now and come back to thank me later. Even if you played Silksong but not Hollow Knight still provides satisfying moments that are on par or outdo Silksong. All credit to Silksong too, because they're both great games. Now, go play Hollow Knight. Life's too short to not appreciate a game of this stature. I learned that from the mob.